It's two conscious guys talking, where conscious male leaders come together and have a discussion that is deep, that is nourishing, that allows us to see the illumination of consciousness that's unfolding progressively for men that are waking up in the world, and where you can get insights on your own awakening as a man, and also for amazing women that want to learn more about men's challenges and struggles that have created some of the dysfunction we've seen within men in its society, often called, quote unquote, the patriarchy and other terms. What created it? What is the genesis of it all? What can we do about it today to empower men to be all that they're meant to be and to support the awakening of consciousness for men and women and all? Well, it's glad to be with you, Kenton, again. It's always amazing. I'll never forget how we were able to meet too when you came into town, going out, getting some dinner, going playing some. I love the way you put it. We tried to play pool after so many years of not playing pool when it weren't very the sharp, but we had a good time when you came into town, so that was cool.
Yeah. I haven't played since because I just can't live up to that standard anymore.
Yeah, because it's got all that practice to get it going. Pool guys, they're listening. If you're ever in the Chicago area, even just ring me up, okay? Just reach out to me. You can find me on social media. Say, hey, I'm in town. You said you like to play pool. You're pretty okay at it. All right, let's get together anytime. All right. I love playing pool. I can play for hours and nights and days. So feel free. I'm a big enthusiast. So, but yeah, my point is, like, I'd love to just continue to do more. It's one of those things. It's not necessarily a guy thing, although I probably more men play it overall than women. But it's one of those things. Like, I used to have a table in my basement and everything, but just over the years, just you get busy, and both of us, we've had kids, and we get families and stuff, and it's like life's busy, and one of the things that's fallen off the table is playing pool.
Or doing anything just for fun and for us.
Exactly, right? I'm always thinking about that. I'm like, oh, I should get out and do more just to nurture myself and do my own thing. And then I do sometimes, but more times I'm like, oh yeah, I'm too busy. I won't be able to do that right now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but I'm going to be doing better. Yeah, I'm going to do better with that. So yeah, we've got to nurture ourselves. I think the cave time thing is really a big thing, don't you think? For everybody to some degree, like there's a whole extrovert introvert thing. But I wonder sometimes for men if it's like there is something to that, like we need to go into our cave sort of thing,
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Our man cave or cave, or just for me, it's just doing anything that's not required, I guess, or like, I don't know. I was listening to a podcast today and they talked about, I guess, suicide rates for men is higher now because when the kids leave the house, men are now getting depressed and having that empty nest feeling, and because we lose all our friends. Once we have kids, we don't have time to do anything else. I shouldn't say everybody, but I've definitely felt that. And so yeah, the reminder of going out and spending one night playing pool, like how fun it was, how relaxing it was, and just how much it's needed, and getting out, having friends, maintaining friendships, and for our mental health. But
yeah,
women get it right, and they do it all the time. But
yeah, I mean, again, it's not. It's definitely the same kind of dynamic sometimes for women a lot. But the one thing that we always hear about with women, which is I think is really true is they do a lot more deeper connecting and socializing with each other. And I don't know if they're more likely to go out, although it seems like, yeah, they have their girls' nights out and stuff. Guys do it too. But if I were doing research, and I haven't done research on this, I'm sure that the books are out there. I think women are out a little bit more than guys are doing things like that. But I don't know. I don't really know if that's true or not. But
Yeah, and the things that I've read and heard is that women, like you said, connect deeply
yeah,
more.
yeah,
Men, we get together and watch the game,
right, right.
or go out and get drunk, but we're not connecting deeply. It's superficial, and
Yeah.
you know, and so
Unless
that
you're playing pool, that's deep.
exactly, well, two extremely, well, one extremely and one half extremely enlightened men out
Right.
there able to connect with our feelings and do it.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's the root of it, is women talk on the phone more often with girlfriends, and
Yeah.
and men, we just don't, or I don't know
Yeah.
very many men
Yeah.
that do.
Right, right. Again, we're talking kind of stereotypes, but just I always say stereotypes usually are got accuracy to them. They don't come out of nowhere. I mean, there's something to most all of them, not maybe all of them, but to some degree. So, but yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that's come up again and again is the lack of ability, yeah, for men to feel like they can be safe to share themselves. And what I think is so cool that you're doing is you're doing this cuddling and cuddlists, and it's whether it's guys or girls, you're doing this cuddling thing, and like I think that's pretty awesome. I mean, given that you are a man, I mean, I don't know. I think most cuddlists, I don't know, it's probably a mix of men and women, but I think that's pretty cool that you're into that.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
It is, I mean, primarily it's women offering it,
Mhm.
and I think, and I don't have any studies, I think there's some sites that it's borderline on sex work or not. So I
Mhm.
think a lot of men initially get interested in it.
Mhm.
I just finished a certification for it, and that was kind of the feeling that I got from some of the women that have been cuddling for a while. They really have to vet the men based
Yeah.
on, like, what do you think this is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Oh, it's cuddling, huh? Yeah. Right.
yeah, wink, wink,
Cuddling. Yeah.
nudge, nudge.
Right. Right. Oh,
But
yeah.
in, like, for me, I thought it was weird as hell. Like,
Yeah.
5 years ago, I think, when it first kind of got into my head, I looked at it and I was like, who would do this? Why? And then it just kept staying top of mind. And I started seeing the benefits of it. And I do, like, I believe in it wholeheartedly, that men need it, whether it's from another man, from a woman, platonic touch for me. And I think we all have different levels of need on from touch, but I think it's something that needs to be met. And I've had three, no, I take that back, two male clients. I've got one that there always something gets in the way still, but he keeps trying. We keep trying to meet up. But one was a straight male, and he was the first client that I had that was male. But as soon as I stopped making it weird, it was no longer weird.
Mm.
Um, but it's funny because he ended up actually falling asleep with his head on my chest. And when I woke him up, when the session was over, later I talked to him and I was like, so how do you feel? And he's like, yeah, I'm glad I tried it, but I don't think it was me. It was for me. And I was like, okay. you seem pretty relaxed.
Right.
You fell asleep and, you don't think, but,
Yeah.
it's just funny the stories that we make up in our heads. But,
Right. So true.
um,
Hmm.
you know, but like I said, when I stopped making it weird, I thought like how normal this is in other countries where men can hold hands and hug each other in public without being drunk, and um, just and not be that that TP
Yeah.
quick three
Right.
slap
Hey
on the
man,
back.
I love you. Right.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry, I might have gotten off on a tangent,
No,
but
not at all. Not at all. I mean, I think it's fascinating. This guy. I mean, maybe it's true. Maybe it isn't for him. And what I'm thinking is the first thought I had is he's like, well, I don't know if I should be saying I was really into it. Like that might be weird. So I'm gonna say, well, I don't know, not for me.
yeah. Yeah, he did say, because it was an hour session, he's like, I could have probably gone for 30 minutes and been all right. And it's like,
Session was
so
too long. That's why I fell asleep.
yeah. But yeah, it's and I don't know. I think a lot of it is like the more comfortable that I'm becoming letting go of things, like the whole sexual part of it, the
Mhm,
intimate part of it, really.
mhm.
Like, am I allowed? And I did think this in the session. I was like, if we were on a battlefield and one of us was injured,
Yeah.
nobody would ever look at this funny, you
Right.
know.
Right.
But yeah, the more I let go of the story that I was even holding on to, because I
Right.
was nervous and anxious coming into it, like,
Mhm.
what does this mean, and then I had
Right.
another client who was a homosexual male,
Mhm.
and he really loved it. He was like,
Yeah.
we had a conversation, and he led the session really well. He knew what he wanted as far as, we started sitting up, and he's like, I think I'd feel better laying down. So we laid down, and it was so special and innocent and sweet. And when we were done, he's like, yeah, it was just pillow talk. And he really enjoys pillow talk. And I was like, yeah, it was nice to just lay there and talk and
Right.
not have any expectations of anything else. And
Right. Right. I mean, really, I love for guys to let down their defenses is really a tremendous I mean, for all of us, and then in these different specific ways that might maybe are a bit different than women, but like for men, we always talk about here, these conversations we're talking about. There's that vigilance, right? Like you're always wondering if you're protected, and then if you got family and loved ones, and are they protected? I better. It's like some badass like looking for threats all the time kind of thing going on inside of us at a physical level. That's what we do. Women, I think, are more like maybe they do it too to some degree, but I think they're more focused on, okay, is everybody okay? Are they being supported? Is the environment right? Like, is the environment conducive to helping people function better and feel better? And like, I don't know, like it's just how what I've known. Like women do the nesting thing, and they need to make sure everything's right, clean everything, let's organize like crazy. And again, they're generalizations, but they're truth to them. So
yeah,
but for the men, like I was listening to I listen to clips. I don't listen to his full podcast because I'm not as into him enough to listen to him all the time. But Joe Rogan, like, is talking about, doing, I think, LSD or whatever. And it's like, man, that totally just dissolves your ego. Just totally dissolves your ego. And I could just tell like how liberating that was for him, not just as a human being, but as a man. Like,
yeah,
I finally got out of my way. Like I just open to like everything's love and everything's, it's so beautiful and you just want to stay there forever and that whole thing. And I'm like, wow, it's interesting. I haven't done that kind of stuff. marijuana or something. That's about as far as I've gone. But
Right. Yeah.
life. But I'm like, it's interesting to me as someone, that's been meditating and doing all my spiritual stuff all these years, like to hear from someone else that it would take. I mean, it makes sense. It would take drugs to and do. I mean, I get it, it works, but it's just like that they probably are not experiencing anything close to that without it. Like, and I'm like, that is fascinating to me. So I think sometimes to some degree, I take for granted, some of the experiences and connections I might enjoy that maybe other people don't enjoy. I don't know for sure, but that sense of letting go of all of that, and it always for me, it always comes back. But
Yeah.
I'm living in some transcendent state at all. But I think it's so interesting that when we can awaken, because I'm thinking of it because of the cuddling, because you said like the cuddling, man, I get that image in my mind, like it's bringing people in that universal love, heart space, in that deeper place. Ego starts to dissolve, and it's like, you got to wonder more and more, like, well, what if we've lived there more, right? Again, it's all
Yeah.
idea of living there more than in with our defenses, and what does this mean? We all do that one, right? What does this mean when this happens? I got to make meaning out of everything, and like, so it's pretty fascinating, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and to relate it back to what you're saying about Joe Rogan and LSD, and I've not done LSD, but
Mm-hmm.
I've done ayahuasca and I've done substantial amount of mushrooms, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'd be here without it,
Yeah.
without those experiences, because for me, that's what it took. I had so much armor on that I needed to do that to
Yeah.
kind of like take a bunch of it off.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, opening it up to the experience of like, yes, we are in a universe of love, and why can't we live here more often?
Mm-hmm.
And I come out of those experiences feeling great and feeling the love of the universe and how I just want to give, and then get back out into normal life, and the armor slowly starts to get put on, and it's like trying to wipe it off and say, no, I'm not putting it on, and just getting in a state where, yeah, I can be vulnerable without the medicines and without the assistance of anything. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where I strive to be, is to a place where I am completely comfortable with myself. And that's part of the message that I want to give with the cuddling too, is like learning to know and trust and listen to your body.
Yeah.
Because if I suggest that we lay a certain way or sit a certain way, and your body tenses up and like, no, but you say yes because you've been a people pleaser,
Right.
well, you're going to feel completely uncomfortable and not get anything out of it. And
Yeah.
so learning that it's okay to say no
Right.
when you want to say no, but then also like, well, that wouldn't be right. My body's saying yes, but my mind's like, that's not right. I can't do that with this person.
Yeah.
Well, then you're depriving yourself of something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, again, a safe environment to say, yeah, let's try that. And
Mm-hmm.
then also, nope, this isn't working, or no, I want to try something new at any moment.
Right.
It's so fluid. And going to a cuddle party where there was 18 of us, and it was my first experience with an organized cuddle party like that. And I left there with so much oxytocin. Like I felt like I was floating out of that experience, and 100% sober. It was, what was it? I want to say 2, maybe 3 hours
Wow.
of just this cuddle party. And you cuddle with this person, and then when it's over, you go and you find somebody else, or you float around. And yeah, by the end of it, I just felt so loved and just like I was on cloud nine and just thinking, why is this so weird? And why do people resist it?
Right.
If they
Right.
only like could open up a little bit and be like, this feels really amazing.
Yeah.
And let's create this instead of all
Yeah.
the armor and defensiveness that you were talking about.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that could create it, I suppose, a lot of conditioning, and then also, for men and women, but probably extra for women, then there's concerns, and trauma and abuse from the past with touch. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it. So that's why could be so healing and so expanded to allow that in, to allow
Yeah.
that in, that's so beautiful. And so I wanted to talk to you. I want to make sure we talk about it. Is one of the standard questions I ask everybody. Usually I ask it earlier, but it's just talking to you. But yeah, I love talking to each guy about the sense of male stereotypes, that maybe, that put on for you, when you said you're putting on the armor, like for me, I was thinking, as a man, in part anyway, a lot of armor in that regard, like to protect my vulnerability and all that sort of stuff. But what are some of the there's so many, there's probably just two or three they hear every single time, but for you, I'm curious what they are. What are the male stereotypes you had to kind of deal with growing up? Like when we're growing up, we may not even realize we're dealing with these stereotypes, right?
Yeah.
We learn about it later, but like what ones do you think you were dealing with and kind of struggled with, especially growing up?
Yeah. Well, you know, boys don't cry. At a certain age, you're not allowed to cry anymore. Um, I grew up in the 80s, and so um, the music you listen to, I got my ears pierced, and it was like, which one's the gay ear and which
Yeah,
one's,
right, yeah.
and how stupid that was.
Yeah,
Um,
I remember that, like people saying, "Oh, that watch which ears was it on?" Like everybody was saying that stuff back then. That's
yeah,
yeah.
and yeah, it makes no sense at all. But just the way you carried yourself, the way you walked, um, and then like just that macho Rocky, Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Van Damme, that mentality of like, the conquer, and then I think about like workaholic. As much as my dad worked, and seeing him not be part of the family because work, work, work. Pardon me. And don't be a pussy,
Mm.
and all that, don't be a fag, all that mentality of like just show no emotion is what, looking back on it, is what I was being told.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just always in competition mode
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
afraid to lose, afraid to lose to the point that I didn't play a lot.
yeah,
I'm not going to win, so I'm not even going to play,
right.
even though I really want to. But yeah, is that kind of stuff is what I grew up around. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, again, like probably almost every single one you said are all the common ones I hear: the competitiveness, the you can't show your emotions, don't be weak. They're so. I mean, my point is like these are the very real things that men deal with. And part of the reason why I'm having all these conversations is the goodness of just these conversations for us, and then sharing it with the world, because I think a lot of people, like I've been aware of, and I think people are coming more and more aware, is like, okay, well, they say toxic masculinity, the patriarch, and all this stuff, it's like, okay, well, there's a whole group of guys like us, that are as conscious as we can be, right?
Yeah.
Just see me after someone cuts me off out in the highway. Well, not me so much, but you know what I mean. And whatever the thing is that triggers your, just watch my computer not work for 2 seconds and see how evolved I am. I'm so evolved. I'm so in the now. Nothing disturbs me. Why isn't my computer working right now? That's basically how it goes. That's another comedy routine I want to bring on the road. But so yeah, I mean, this idea of of you can't show any weakness. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I always felt shame, not shame. I don't know if it's shame, but like I felt diminished, or I felt not seen, I guess is what it is. Like, because this idea you have to be a certain way, like, so I never fit in. It's like, okay, I love people. I was back when I was a kid, I just wanted to go run, loving everybody, hugging people, but I shut that off really early because I just saw like, well, nobody else is acting that way. I guess I'm not supposed to act that way, right?
Right.
An enthusiastic kid, like I've had this kind of back and forth method, even like my enthusiasm, like be very enthusiastic, and everybody's looking at you. What's your problem to this day? Like, hey, there's videos probably on Facebook right now where I'm dancing at a party or something. Or like, look at him, he's crazy. He's like he's drunk. I'm like, I'm having fun. I mean, what? You got to be drunk to want to have fun and dance. And but that's exactly what I ran into. And some of it does hit into the masculine stuff or the boy stuff, because it's like, okay, geez, you're showing the motion, you're showing you kind of look stupid right now. You're dancing, look too tough to me, and
Yeah.
the same impervious and tough, and these ideas start coming to you through the movies, etc. And I wasn't into all this stuff, like I was like half in on some of it, but hey, don't, well, what about the latest cars coming out and everything? I'm like, yeah, whatever, the cars, like that. I was more like that about cars. I'm not saying I
Yeah.
didn't enjoy them at all. I had some affinity for it, but it wasn't nowhere near like a lot of boys, So I was just like, yeah, okay, playing war and all this stuff. Yeah, I probably did some of that, but I never got really into all that stuff. And Boy Scouts and everything, it's great. All that stuff's great, but I just never felt really drawn to it. I'm like, I want to be in my own space and world. On sports, totally. That was into that. Totally loved sports. Could do sports for the rest of my life too. I love that. Competition and everything. Love competition. Competition is fun. Um, I just love it. I love to be competitive. I love not to be competitive. I love all of it. So, but yeah, I just and then I'm just not a stereotypical kind of masculine energy, especially as you get older, like it shows up more and more. Like, oh yeah, well you're not that kind of guy or whatever, and you don't seem to be wanting to go nail all the girls, so you must be gay, and like those are some of the things I ran into. So like by being so then I would go around and as a teenager we go into and maybe I've shared this with you before, Ken, I don't know, but like I would go into a arcade or something, and like I got my exterior going so strong though at times, at the same time as I was getting older. We'd walk into a place and I'd have a scowl on my face. I put on such a even though I don't look like a tough guy, but like I'd have such a energy that I remember one of my friends saying, yeah, Hannah was just sitting there like, hey, you want to die? Boom! Like that's what he was seeing in my energy, and that was true. I was just like, okay, the first guy that says anything to me, they're going down in about a million ways. Come on now. But thank God, like nobody ever approached me when I was in that energy, right? So
Right.
like I didn't have to worry about it. So, but it was kind of a defense mechanism, I suppose. It's like because I had been harassed and bullied, at school a little bit. And it was pretty massive to me, even though probably if you combine all the minutes that ever happened to me, it's probably like 5 or 10 minutes, maybe. Right? This massive bullying campaign, right? But I was being bullied inside because I was thinking about these kids, like that, what they might do again or what they might try. And I'm rehearsing, okay, if they do that again, they try that little thing again, and this is what's going to happen. This is the way it goes down. And like, so anyway, kind of just spilling my guts here, just sharing all the old stories from the old days. But yeah, it's definitely, I think for a lot of the, what we call conscious guys, some of the guys I've had on are more stereotypical kind of guys, but most of us we're different from the beginning. And so that was weird for us too. It's like, hey, I guess I'm supposed to be more in this manly kind of way or whatever, right? I don't know. So what did you I'll have you riff off of that. What was that in that regard? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the same stuff where I don't know if I feel like I was as I want to love everybody when I was younger, but there was a curiosity of I want to learn more, but that curiosity was kind of squashed at a young age. And I don't know exactly when or how, but yeah, there are a lot of interests that I had. And this has been coming up a lot for me recently, as far as like, getting an interest in human design and how I got here. And like, as a kid, I was interested in horoscopes and, well, you can't, those are silly. You can't listen to those. And just how I just squashed that. Like, okay, yeah, it's nonsense. And not having the availability for information back then, I wasn't confident enough to go search it out. But it was a lot of, for me, it was how many girls I could sleep with when, in high school. As you were talking, I had remembered too that, in middle school, when my girlfriend broke up with me, like how heartbroken I was. And I had nobody to go, I tried crying. And both mom and dad, I know mom, I don't even know if dad was around for it. They're like, toughen up, it'll be okay. Just completely invalidating that I'm hurt. Yeah. I know it won't last forever, but in this moment I'm hurt.
Right.
But, and learning that that's not acceptable, it's not acceptable feelings, get over it, pick yourself up, move on.
Yeah.
And just to completely leave feelings behind and not be able to process it. I haven't won a single fight that I've been in. I've not started a single fight either, but
right. You didn't get the first punch in. Yeah.
Yeah. I was never smart enough to do that. But violence, just physical violence, isn't in my nature, Push me hard enough, sure. Now it'll probably come out. But even then, it was like I didn't know what to do with the anger. Because
my guess is you were a type that you sort of froze when you're
right? Like what is going on? This is not how I saw things happen. Right. But yeah, so. And then I went to drugs and alcohol in high school, because that was the only way that I could feel. Like the group of guys that I hung out with, we got emotional when we got drunk, and we could tell each other we loved each other, and this and that, and then getting high was the same way. And it was just like, I think it was 5 or 10 years ago, I finally realized that was part of my routine. And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like, no wonder.
So into it. One of the reasons, right? There's a huge bonding, right? That usually it's not like we're hanging out with all the girls or it's like you're hanging out with your guy friends doing this stuff, whether for me it was smoking. My friend at the time, he's like, come on, I don't want to do it by myself. You got to have one too. I'm like, oh crap, whatever, I'll do it. And of course, you always think I'll only do it once, and then a
Right.
thousand packs later, here we are. Right? So I had no clue, that I was, that I was gonna, get addicted and smoke more and more. But I never smoked a ton. But whatever it is, whether it's drinking, like we did that in high school. It's crazy. And then it's like, oh, you should hear what we did, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You think you've done a lot? Look, we took a whole bottle of this and that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And that comparison
Yeah.
pops up. So, but there was something else in there that you had mentioned that escapes me now that I could relate to, as far as I just can't remember what it is now. Doesn't matter.
Oh,
If it comes to me, it will.
it's a lot we're talking about. So covering many angles here. But yeah, there's a lot of things we don't really take the time to think about, that we've been experiencing. And as we related to our being guide. Again, some of the things we say for sure relate to women too. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But there is the experience of, as a guy, with a lot of these things as well. So for me, I think like the hyper competitiveness, again, happens in women too, even more so in some cases. But
Yeah.
when it comes to things like sports and things like that, it tends to be more with men for sure. Like, I've got to be stronger, I got to be bigger, I got to be faster, and I got to be the alpha. I got to be, even if they don't think I'm the alpha, I'm going to be the alpha, and that whole thing. Yeah, and we've all had that experience of feeling less than in those situations, I think, at some point. So whether you couldn't match up to be at the state level or the national level, or you didn't make the Olympics, or whatever it is, like at some point you're like, oh man, what a loser I am. For me, it'd be things like, I feel so stupid, like even as an adult, like sometimes when you do those pickup basketball games, they're like, okay, let's pick up teams. And honestly, because people didn't see me play first, they just look at me and are like, oh, you look athletic, you're kind of tall a little bit. All right, I'd be one of the early picks. Then I get on the floor, I'd be one of the worst players. Like, what the hell? We had no idea you're so bad. I was kind of really good with, like, in certain areas, but in terms of dribbling the ball and shooting and everything, it's very awkward, just out of control. I was too hyped up probably, but but yeah, like just the embarrassment of it though. Oh yeah, you're probably good. No, not very good, not that good. Oh yeah, I mean, I probably laughed more than felt defeated, but it sort of was embarrassing. Yeah, just so many things. Like when I'm around guys, I don't know. I think there's something there because I do it with women to some degree too, but yeah, I think it's definitely extra. Like we're going to play a game or so. I'm going to take you down. We probably did that with you too, Ken. Like, you're playing, okay, you're going to lose. You know that, right? And like, here it comes, boom. Like, just what guys do, even if we're playing around. Like it's still that, like, you're going down. I'm stronger. I'm bigger. I'm faster.
Yeah. But with us, it turned into a lot of excuses.
Yeah, right. Well, I didn't
10 years ago, I would have wiped the floor with you.
Yeah. Listen, if I had 2 more beers, you would have been done. You would have been done. Just don't push me now.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, we come up with stories of why we didn't win that. Right? Totally
I think it took us 20 minutes to play a game.
Right. Yeah. It's funny.
But I remember what it was. It was like, and it kind of relates into this, like, how silly we are. We're watching the women in our lives, the girls in our lives at a younger age, fawn over these singers, these dancers, entertainers. And as a society, I was at least told, you don't dance, boys don't sing, and like how completely, like, the boys that would go out on the dance floor first, the women loved, like, because the girls wanted to dance at the high school, middle school dances, but it was always like, don't do it, because it's you lose your masculinity card if you're on the dance floor.
Right,
It's
right,
just
right.
like, you got all these entertainers, these singers, the boy bands, out there singing and dancing, and the girls are falling up head over heels for them. But God forbid we actually learn how to do that and be a hit.
Oh yeah, I
Like,
mean, you're a chick magnet if you're a good dancer. You as an adult, like you don't have to be, you don't have to be really good looking, but necessarily. But like, if you're a really good dancer, like that's a big plus. That's what women are looking for, right? But
or
yeah,
even
I remember,
if
yeah,
just going out and trying, like,
yeah, even
you
trying,
don't know how to do it, if you're brave enough to go
right?
and dance with a woman, she'll
Yeah.
love it.
Exactly. Exactly. Because I remember too, like just it was so pathetic to me. Like I go to these daddy-daughter dances. I don't know if you went to those too, right? And I'd be there and I'd be looking, all these guys are like they're on their phones and just sitting on the sidelines and a dance. I'm like, we're here to dance. Like it's called daddy-daughter dance, not
Yeah,
like daughters and daughters and daughters dance. It's the
yeah.
daddy-daughter dance. And I'm like out there like almost the whole time and like almost no other dads were like, I mean a couple maybe, but like vast majority of the guys barely come out or not at all. And I'm like, wow, it just is kind of mind-blowing to me. I'm like, they're not willing to loosen up enough. Oh yeah, I don't dance, I'm a man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's very interesting how we cut ourselves off. But yeah, I mean, just making us all more aware, like wow, the things that we carry and the ideas we carry. Uh, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think yeah, and then if you're trying to provide for a family, like the sense of like I gotta make it happen no matter what. I gotta provide, or I'm nothing. Like that whole thing. That's what creates a lot of these suicides, right? Like it's not gonna work out. I'm failing everybody. Or it's drugs or whatever. But they're depressed about maybe other things too. But like often it's financial. Like
Yeah.
I can't provide. I'm not measuring up. I'm no good. I'm just gonna end it. And it's so sad that we equate like what's happening with your financial life and work like with your ultimate sense of value in the world. Like I think that's really sad. Like that we're that sick sometimes as a society. Like that that our men would feel that way. I don't know any woman that I mean, I just think it'd be really unusual for a woman to feel that way. Oh, I can't provide for my family financially. I'm going to end it. Like, I mean, I can't see that happening, right? I mean, it may happen, but like, I
Yeah,
can't see it. But
I'm sure it does happen
yeah,
too, but yeah,
yeah,
it's, from what I can tell, women don't tend to have that ego.
yeah,
That,
yeah,
so that sense of, their sense of pride is the same but different, as far as like,
hmm
when I was going through my divorce, I was so afraid to ask for help because it was going to be a strike against me as a man, because men don't ask for help. And as I'm like looking, like, if I don't ask for help, if I don't pick myself up from the bootstraps and go,
hmm
like, I can see how I could become homeless, because I am so focused on my pride that I
hmm
can't ask for help, but I'm in desperate need of help. And then when like single mothers, like, yeah, the suicide rate of single mothers, I've got to imagine, is low.
right, right,
I don't know, but
yeah,
because, damn it, they can ask for help, and
right, exactly,
they
exactly.
can figure. I mean, men, we're good at figuring how to make things work too. but women are just on a different level.
Yeah.
And I think it's because they, generally speaking, are more apt to be vulnerable and say, I need help.
Right.
And I think it's because of the friend groups that they carry where they can do that. And men in general can't, because our friendships aren't that deep and aren't that intimate.
I think there's certain levels, again, there's huge competition, let's say, sometimes, not always, but sometimes in dating with women, how I look versus you look, maybe, but not always. But yeah, I mean, my experience is that, women have more of a culture of let's help each other, let's support each other. Let's, men, it's like, I'll kick your ass, get out of my way. I know how to handle this, and don't even try to give me advice. How dare you even think you have an idea for me? Like, there's more of that in men, right? You just totally assassinated my ego by suggesting this idea to me. Like, like that's much more likely to happen to, I think, I mean, just on average. Again, there's women that are very assaulted too, but like, well, but yeah, I mean, just the idea that you think I'm so inadequate, yeah, that especially with the providing for others, or if you're weak, if you're too weak, yeah, that's the thing. But so yeah, yeah, I think that's why the spiritual path is so helpful, I think, for especially too for men, because it's like, hey, what if you were more vulnerable? What if you thought about like getting help and helping other people, and not being so self-focused on just what you think you have to deal with, and you think you need to do. And what if you could get beyond that, and think how you could be a supporting presence to others, just by smiling, you know just by being loving to other people, rather than, well, I only matter based on what I can provide for or achieve, or again, lessons for men and women. But providing for family, I know for sure, my statistics would show practically up on that. Like, you can't provide for your family, you're destitute, you're a loser, you may as well be dead. Like, there's definitely a vibe around that. Yeah. So
life insurance policies, I can benefit them better if I'm dead, because they'll get life insurance money. And it's horrible.
Yeah, it goes into very dark places. So whereas women are more apt to be like, well, maybe I can get help somewhere financially, or maybe someone can help me out financially for now. And yeah, we all got ego, we all got pride sometimes, but they're much more likely to do that than to say, no, I could never ask anybody, I'm only paying. And like, right? Nobody pays for me, that don't insult me. That's much more likely, at least with men. Now, again, there's all kind of different men. Again, these are stereotypes. Again, we're talking on the average in society. But so anyway, yeah, there's so much territory to cover, Kenton. We could go on and on. I just appreciate having these conversations, and yeah, I mean, I think the more we can, because I look at, like, yeah, what created this sense of toxic masculinity? What created all? Well, think about it. These guys you gotta be tough, you gotta be strong, you gotta be impervious, you gotta dominate, you gotta do this. Oh, that might create a patriarchy, right? I mean, you gotta provide for your family, you gotta save the woman, and women bought into that, and it made sense in the past because things weren't like they are now. Like, you're out there in the middle of nowhere, and raiders could come knocking down your door. They're not gonna say, get out of the way, man, I got this handled. Mostly it's gonna be the man that needs to deal with the situation, right? So there's a reason why. I mean, I think everybody knows, but like, it's worth reminding us all, like, it doesn't men are evil or something. We evilly decided to take over, and it's not that way. It's just kind of part of the conditioning of wherever it came from, but however it sprung up, but like it's all these ideas that we've been given about being a man. So,
Yeah.
So anyway, well, Kenton, yeah, we'll wrap it up. Otherwise, we'll go for another 3 hours or something. But yeah, I really appreciate having a conversation. I'm grateful for you, and I know, like me, I've had bouts of depression. I know you have. I know many men have, and I appreciate that. You and other men are getting much better at asking for help, and I see you do it on social media. You'll be vulnerable. You'll share things. It's your own way of asking for help. I know, and you directly will ask for help. And so I think, yeah, the more we can just be willing to say, "Hey, this is what's going on. Can you help me?" Or do you have I think that was one really key thing you talked about today. That's really important. So thank you for all that you shared today.
Yeah. Well, thank you for asking me to be a part of this conversation, because I think it's just as equally as important as you do. And anything I can do to help put a voice to it and offer assistance and help, I'm happy to do.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Kenton, so much, and look forward to having more conversations with you about all things.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right. All right. Bye for now, my friend.
Bye. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you for listening in to Just Two Conscious Guys Talking, where our mission is to impact millions of men ultimately to deepen their awakening by examining their consciousness of what's been unfolding for them with male stereotypes and programming that has allowed them to have opportunities to evolve during these times. It's an exciting time to bring more love to men and women around the world, and we are grateful for you tuning in today. Feel free to share this episode and keep tuning in, and also look in the show notes for a link to get notifications of future episodes. Until the next time, everyone, goodbye for now.